Former ISRO scientist, Mr. Nambi Narayanan. Mr. Nambi Narayanan, namaskaram. Thank you so much for joining us here on India Today. Sir, you've been a part of this amazing journey of India's space reform. So I'm sure you must be particularly proud, particularly excited and a bit nervous about the launch today, sir.
Actually, I am not nervous today.
Okay.
Maybe I may become little tensed up on the 23rd of August or 24th of August when you are really landing or try to land on the moon. Because today, honestly, you know, it is nothing but a GSLV launch, so which we are used to, and so, you know, so real tension will come only on the August 23rd when you are trying to land on the moon. But it was naturally, you know, this is leading to that. So to that extent, you can be little tensed up.
But how proud are you, sir? How proud are you that we've reached this moment where we're talking about a soft landing on the moon?
Yeah, really, it is not only me. Everybody is proud. I am surprised, or I am happy to note that the entire nation is now anxious to know the result of this, and everybody, particularly the children, they are all glued to the television and everybody is talking about Chandrayaan-3, and very interesting. It only shows the kind of confidence which the people have in ISRO, and well, it is our own, ISRO's own speciality. They may fail at times, but they immediately bounce back.
Very true.
After analyzing the reasons for the failure and correcting it. I have seen this many times in my, I don't know whether it is appropriate, but let me tell you, when I was doing the full-scale flight version of the Vikas engine, we had a failure. The whole thing stopped at 53 seconds for no well explainable reason. We were upset. I was upset. I was 100% sure that this will go successful. But then it happened. So how we solved the problem and how we went through that mill, even it really, you know, makes me happy. And we solved it in 2.5 days. We solved the problem in 2.5 days. Here we have an example of Chandrayaan-2, and as ISRO chairman was telling, it is a failure-based analysis. It is a failure-based corrections. So we failed, and from the failure we learned something. From the learnings we corrected something, and from the corrections we are going with confidence for this Chandrayaan-3. That's again, as usual, we will succeed. Generally, we will succeed in this matter.
You know, that's a question I think every Indian right now has about Chandrayaan-2, the lessons we've learned from that in this particular mission. If you could just explain it to us, the difference between Chandrayaan-2 and Chandrayaan-3. What have we really changed or tweaked to ensure this one is a success where Chandrayaan-2 failed? I'd call it a partial failure, sir.
Well, okay, I don't think I'll take long time, but I'll try to tell you. You see, we always had difficulties with respect to, particularly missions like Chandrayaan and Mangalyaan. We had difficulty in our payload carrying capability. We have a limitation on that. For example, today's launch vehicle has a capability of 3,900 and something kilograms, and that is after improving certain things in the whole thing. So we were struggling to keep the 4 tons, and we had this difficulty because of our limitation in the launch vehicle. So that was one difficulty, so which made us on the Chandrayaan-2 to make some compromises, which are not just at random. We know that we have to restrict ourselves to certain weight, which would mean that we make some compromise, and that way that is one problem. Second problem is we had made a fundamental problem in the algorithm of the software part of the mission.
Okay.
They had some contradictory commands, which we didn't notice it. And you know, in space this happens. Most obvious you will miss. It will be so obvious. You know, we have a check, counter check, and counter check, all kinds of things. But still, it is like, you know, you keep counting. Let us say currency 100 rupees. You will keep the same mistake. It will count 99, and then you will not understand where you have made a mistake. But actually, it will be 100. So like that in space also you have problems of that nature. Most obvious things you will lose. That is what has happened in the software. Then on the hardware we had some problem with respect to the stability of the system which was landing. Now these are the major two things which we corrected it in the Chandrayaan-3, which was very easy to correct. But we fortunately had the orbiter which was still circling on the lunar orbit, which we can make use of for another 2-3 years. That helped us to get away from the orbiter. You don't need the orbiter for this mission, which would mean that we can enhance the payload weight a little bit more, that the lander and this one, Vikram weight. So that way we have made some stability, better margins. So we are actually, you will appreciate that we change our failures also into successes. Because we learned something, and
that's amazing.
In South Pole we learned quite a bit on that. So so this is ISRO's own speciality.
You know, in this particular mission,
sometimes
Mr.
you may be.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, you were telling me something. This
no, so I also wanted to know, sir, the Chandrayaan-3 mission, how does it really help our, in our space missions and our space reform going forward?
No, actually, you see, what does it mean in case if you really succeed, what does it mean? It only shows your ability to reach the moon by soft landing, which you failed during the Chandrayaan-2. It only shows your technical superiority over the job. So, which will be not only a national pride, of course it will inspire the younger generations. As I see it, everybody is glued to the television here.
Yeah.
And in the international scenario, you will be looked upon. Okay, we are going to be one among the 4 nations, Russia, China and USA, or we will be the 4th nation who will be sending something to the moon. So your technical superiority is recognized and it is exhibited, which would enable India or the foreign investors to invest more money in space missions, particularly when this government has opened up the private participation in the in the space missions. Also, you will agree that this gives lot of you see, we are exhibiting our confidence level in the whole thing. That's a whole important point.
Because there are 3 countries that have done it: USA, Russia and China. India will join a very special league. My final question to you, Mr. Nambi Narayanan, not really a question, but what would be your message? I know all ISRO scientists right now would be very nervous. Your message to the current Chandrayaan-3, the Chandrayaan mission team, to ISRO Chief Mr. Somanath.
It is not only to Chandrayaan mission, but I have a small dream which I want to share it with you in this occasion. Like what you have in USA, you have a NASA, and for the Europeans you have an ESA. I wish to have an ESA, Asian Space Agency, for this region, which would mean that tomorrow all the space missions which are expensive can be tackled by collaboration among these 3 agencies, namely ESA, NASA and ESA. So I feel it may look a little sort of difficult, but if the government wants to take the initiative, they can take the initiative. You have so many small countries, like you have Sri Lanka, you have Malay Islands, you have Vietnam, you have Thailand, so many countries, plus you have Gulf nations who can join you.
Yeah.
And even Japan will join you if you take the initiative. So I feel that it is time to form an ESA, which will help to at least pool the funds you want. This is one point. I'm not saying this as a message. I am saying this as a desire. It can help in the long
It's an
run.
amazing, it's
But
an
as
amazing
a message,
vision.
I am saying
Sure,
that
sir.
as usual, yeah, all visions are amazing. When I remember when Kalam was making his 75 millimeter diameter rocket, 75 millimeter, 3 inches diameter rocket, which he called it as D1, D2. Then I asked him, where is D1? He said, no, we give an impression there is a D1, but this D stands for dreamer. That was his rocket, which we later renamed as Menaka. And of course, Menaka was only dancing in the air and it never reached its target.
But I can say this,
we have to abandon
Mr.
the project.
Nambi Narayanan, because you have visions, because you have dreams, you've inspired so many of us to look up to the skies, and as you said, glued to the television screens today with a vision for India and our space journey. Thank you very much, sir, for joining us here on India Today. We've all got our fingers crossed, and I'm sure today will be successful. I'm sure 40 days from now, while we'll all be a bit nervous, ISRO would have achieved what we're all hoping for. Thank you very much, Mr. Nambi Narayanan.
Thank you, Ashita. Thank you so much. Nice talking to you. Take care of yourself. Wish you all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Have a great day.